the appeal just got real. Yo, what is going on, everyone in the XRP community? Hope you guys are having yourselves a fantastic day today as usual. Make sure to smash some likes down below, and let's go ahead and get into it. Have an interesting update for you guys today. Because remember how we always talked about and reminded everyone that if the SEC decided to appeal the Ripple versus SEC case, that this was not just going to be some easy free roll, no consequences possible for the SEC. That it could potentially backfire on them and could be a drastic mistake. So since the SEC has notified the courts of intention of appeal, however, the Form C has yet to be filed with the Second Circuit, by the way, but they did file their intention and notice of appeal. What just happened is Coinbase, because as you guys know, the SEC has not only been attacking Ripple and XRP, they've been going after the whole industry under the Biden-Kamala administration. So the SEC, it seems like this is kind of, not getting too good for them. Because here's the thing, if Gary and the SEC, if they want to start crying to the appellate courts and the higher courts and start crying to them that, hey, you need to take a look at this judge is incorrect, this is legally incorrect, you need to come down and take a look at this. Well, if Gary is going to cry wolf to the higher courts and ask for a review, there is potential for a backfire. A drastic mistake by the SEC, in my opinion, reopening up the Ripple versus SEC case and crying and pleading to the higher courts that there has been a legal error made by Judge Torres. So look at what Coinbase just filed here. It's actually yesterday, but was just hitting Twitter today. So Coinbase has asked the judge in its case to certify its interlocutory appeal so that it may present its case to the Second Circuit alongside Ripple. Together, both cases would give the Second Circuit a comprehensive view of the SEC's unlawful approach to crypto. I believe it will be granted. So now that the SEC in the Ripple case, they decided to file a notice of appeal. Now, in the Coinbase versus SEC case, now Coinbase is saying, well, hey guys, we've had a pending appeal, I believe, since last April. The Coinbase interlocutory appeal that has obviously been ignored because unless you're the SEC, that's when you get things immediately granted for you, obviously. But now Coinbase is stepping in, and now they are trying to present themselves to the Second Circuit alongside Ripple, the Ripple-Coinbase duo. Kind of funny because, God, for the longest time, Coinbase would not list XRP, and then once it did list XRP, it delisted it because of the SEC case, and then relisted it. So I know Ripple and Coinbase, way back in the day, there was some bad blood about just they would refuse to list XRP for the longest time, but now they are looking to work together and join hands against the SEC in presenting themselves to the Second Circuit. Okay? So see now, since Gary wanted to stir the shitstorm, all right, there's a bucket of shit, and, it was all still, it was all calm, but no, Gary wanted to come in and stir that back up. Now look what's happening. Now it's not only going to be, the Ripple SEC appeal in the appellate courts, now it's going to be Ripple and Coinbase, potentially here. And if it's Ripple and Coinbase, do other cryptocurrency companies also end up joining in to present their case with the Second Circuit? Can all of these massive stakeholders in the crypto economy, can they all band together in front of the appellate courts and truly show the damage the SEC has done with their lack of clarity, confusion, and just an outright full-scale war against the entire market? Okay? So, dear Judge, I believe Falia, I'm not sure. We write to advise the court that the SEC has lodged an appeal in the Ripple case, and to urge this court to grant Coinbase's pending motion to certify interlocutory appeal under 28 U.S.C. 1292, parentheses B, docket 109, so that the Second Circuit may have before it a complete picture as possible in adjudicating the SEC's position respecting Howey's application to secondary market digital transactions. Okay. On October 2nd, 2024, following entry of final judgment on August 7th, 2024, the SEC filed a notice of appeal. The Second Circuit therefore will now review Ripple's application of Howey, and in particular, the Ripple's court conclusion that blind bid-ask digital asset transactions by an issuer over secondary exchanges were not investment contracts because they lack certain features inherent in the contractual undertakings that Coinbase maintains that are required. Although the SEC disputes it, resolution of the principal issue likely to be raised on appeal in Ripple should entail careful consideration of the foundational question of law presented by this court's March 27th order. Whether some obligation past the point of sale is required for any secondary market transaction to involve an investment contract. By granting Coinbase's motion for interlocutory appeal, this court would help ensure that the Second Circuit has before it a full account of the legal and practical implications of the SEC's litigating position. A position that the SEC acknowledges weeks ago has sown confusion in the SEC versus Binance case. And we just had Gary Gensler on mainstream media. Oh, we regret any confusion. Why are you saying regret? That's admitting fault right there, Gary. Publicly. The SEC has conceded and now reconfirms by its appeal in Ripple that the issues presented by Howey's application to secondary market digital transactions are of industry-wide significance. Prompt and complete appellate review is urgently needed. So if this Coinbase interlocutory appeal that's been, I believe, again, pending since like April of this year, this now means we now have a duo of Coinbase and Ripple before the appellate courts. And potentially you have other stakeholders stepping in to make it an industry-wide issue. Because when you have just Ripple versus SEC in the appellate court, it's like, okay, well, it was ruled in favor of Ripple, SEC saying that wrong, but that's just against one entity. But I mean, if you have Binance, Coinbase, Ripple, Consensus, OpenSea, MetaMask, all kind of come together in front of the Second Circuit and say, hey, look at everything the SEC has done to us over the last few years and how they have acted recklessly and not applying matter of law, but instead an attack against the entire market, not giving any legal clarity. I mean, you have these stakeholders that came to the SEC and tried to work with them and wanted to be compliant and were seeking compliance actively, and they still went after and attacked those same companies. Hereby regulation by enforcement, which is funny because the Kamala campaign, they just put out a document saying that they do not support regulation by litigation. So wonder what all this going on here is. So now I believe, fellas, if this gets approved, if Judge Fala, however you pronounce that last name, I do apologize. Judge Fala approves this Coinbase request. It is no longer going to be SEC versus Ripple, SEC versus Coinbase. I think this will literally be a massive appellate court, SEC versus many, many, many organizations and companies in the cryptocurrency space, thus legitimizing, in the eyes of the appellate court, legitimizing the fact that the SEC is actively pursuing pure war against the entire cryptocurrency market and not protecting investors and not doing what the agency was established to do in the first place, which was protect investors. But all they have done is not provided any clarity and have only attacked the cryptocurrency market. So fellas, be prepared. This might not be just Ripple versus SEC in the appellate courts. This might just get put together with a lot of cases before the appellate court, and we get a massive, massive higher court ruling on the entire matter. Again, not just Ripple versus SEC, but the SEC versus the entire fucking crypto market. The appeal, in my opinion, just got real, because this is what we talked about. We talked about that if the SEC, okay, we have the whole, the Home Depot bucket, and there's water in it, and there's just shit at the bottom, calmly sitting down. And if they want to come in and they want to stir all that shit up and just make all the water murky, if they want to mix it all, if they want to do that, that it would come back to bite them in the ass. And I think that is what the beginning of what we are seeing happening as of Friday. Because they had the opportunity to leave the appeal window alone, not file an appeal, but they came in and opened this up. And now what I think is going to be happening is the entire cryptocurrency market will band together against the SEC in the higher courts. So the SEC, Gary Gensler, has effectively done this to themselves. Again, they could have left Ripple alone. They could have, let the final judgment stand, take the 125 mil, call it a day, call it a win in their books. But no, they wanted to stir the shit and they wanted to reopen it. So now this is the consequence that Gary Gensler is going to have to face by opening up this Ripple appeal, because now it's being cited in the Coinbase case and in many SEC versus whatever crypto company case will now also be probably citing the same thing. And I imagine they will all be requesting to band together before the appellate courts. So again, we talked about this. This is not a free roll for the SEC. The SEC just doesn't get to, we can't lose. We could only win by appealing. They wanted to stir the shit. They did it. Now look what's happening. This is going to be, in my opinion, just game-changing for crypto. Again, it's the court system is going to take forever. But now, this is where the backfire comes at the SEC. Because they wanted to open up the appeal. They wanted to do that. They started it, okay? They had the opportunity to leave the Ripple case alone, be happy with the final judgment, take the 125 mil, but no, they wanted to open it up and pursue further action. Now look what's happening. You are going to have billions upon hundreds of billions of dollars worth of market cap companies banding together and presenting their case to the appellate courts. Okay. Now, one other thing I want to talk about with you guys. There was a Twitter account that I saw, I believe Crypto Insight UK, correct? Crypto Insight UK. Yeah, so I saw something interesting from this guy. Okay. So he says, I'm not trying to give, hopium to XRP holders here, but I received this from a lawyer who I know in the UK before we got the SEC appeal announcement. He did state he's not an expert in this specifically, and US law is very different, but still interesting. And again, this is all not really a source, but this is, we're just Crypto Insight UK, post a lot of good XRP information. And he said he got this from just a lawyer in the UK. And he said, on XRP legal-wise, it would make sense for a settlement to be announced before the deadline, I feel. If it isn't, I think they're at least file the notice and then reach a settlement. And then a settlement is reached before the grounds are filed. Just my thoughts. So, again, not trying to, hype up the whole settlement stuff again. But, again, I like to, kind of look at all the theoretical possibilities of how we go forward. Because at the end of the day, you guys, me, the whole XRP army, we just don't want this to keep dragging on. We want this to just be over. So, looking at all the, just the possibilities where the SEC could throw out their own appeal. They can withdraw their own appeal. The court could, file a dismissal, have the case dismissed. I'm just looking at all the, the possible timelines here of okay, well, where is the possibilities that lie where we could just get a quick resolution and just move on with our lives. So, interesting thing from Crypto Insight UK there. But yeah, guys, the SEC. Oh, Gary, he wanted to stir the shit pot. He wanted to stir the shit up. Wanted to make that water all murky. You know what? All the shit was at the bottom of the bucket. It was just relaxing, just all the way down to the bottom, just sitting there, not bothering anybody. But he wanted to stir it up. Now it's coming back after him. So the final thing I want to talk about with you guys today, something pretty cool we've been, doing over here in the XRP army over on Twitter. Stop the SEC's unnecessary and frivolous appeal in the Ripple vs. SEC case. We have reached 6,671 signatures. I'm not saying, and I'm not championing the fact that this is actually going to, make the appeal go away. But the fact that we are kind of banding together as a community and signing this thing, basically stating that this appeal is unnecessary and frivolous, and is just, the SEC has, conducted a 4-year-long, just deliberate attack on XRP investors, while Ethereum got multiple free passes and investigations suspended very, very quickly. Just to show, maybe this gets some media attention. Maybe, this does draw attention to the fact that, hey, wow, the SEC really has hurt a lot of people. And you know what? Again, I'm not saying we're going to make the appeal go away, but I got to say, this is probably the best time to have a petition like this, election season. When it's election season, that seems like the best kind of time to really make your voices heard. So, again, I'm not saying this is going to, magically we're going to band together, make the appeal just go away, and SEC will withdraw it, but maybe at some level, this does get acknowledged in the future. Maybe we get some sort of mass media attention, mass influencer attention. Maybe in an upcoming appellate court review, if this gets enough signatures, it could be, acknowledged at the appellate court level, and they can specifically show just how many XRP investors have made their voice against the SEC for deliberately harming investors. So anyways, guys, that is the video for today. I will see you guys in the next one.